The following is a presentation of Pod Media Works.
What is going on, everybody? And welcome to the Totally Rad Movie Podcast, where we take a totally rad or epically bad movie from the 80s or 90s and discuss it for you. I am Scott.
Hey, it's Larry.
And once again, we have a special guest. Jeremy, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, Jeremy. You may recognize me from the STS Guys.
Or last week's episode.
which is so funny. Can I tell a story real quick?
Yes.
So I think Scott or someone else copied the comments from last week. So it says, "Hey, Jeremy's gonna be a special guest." So I'm like, "I am."
Okay. And Jeremy, my mistake of hitting post too soon made the guest happen here. So it's a wonderful surprise, Jeremy. Thank you for coming on. I know this is a movie that you would appreciate, so having you come on this week, this is a movie that's near and dear to my heart that we're talking about this week.
Mine too.
It is.
I had never seen it before.
How dare you, sir? First off, Larry, can I tell you that you have not seen almost every movie that we go through?
Yeah, that's fair. That was kind of the whole point of this podcast. So
Right?
live it up to my reps.
So we're going to be talking about the 1989 classic starring Fred Savage, The Wizard.
What?
Oh, baby.
Well, I should say Fred Savage and Christian Slater.
Yeah,
I forgot he was in this movie.
Yeah, I had no idea that Christian Slater was in this.
Yeah. Weird fun fact. Christian Slater played what is that? Bo Bridges' his son, right? That's the dad in this. He also in a movie like the year prior played Jeff Bridges' son, which is Bo's brother. So he's both the Bridges brothers have been Christian Slater's dad in movies.
That's not confusing.
Yes. So boom. So yeah. So for everyone watching.
Oh, sorry. It's got that kid from Little Big League in it too.
It does, yeah.
He's Jimmy.
As Jimmy, the who I think altogether has, I'm gonna say 15 lines if you count all the times he just says California.
California.
So Larry, just describe to everybody, since I love your summations, what is the story of The Wizard?
All right, so The Wizard, right? I think that even if you haven't seen it, you know it's about video games. So it's about this kid who's really good at video games. What I didn't know is that his twin sister died, and that's why he's on this journey to go to California. And he gets his half brother Fred Savage, and they take off, head west, and along the way they meet this girl who randomly joins up on their crusade. And they meet this other kid who's really good at video games, Lucas, and they end up going to California for this big epic video game tournament. And then, of course, in the final three, it's the Wizard, Jimmy, and this kid Lucas, who they met on the way.
And other random girl.
Yeah, other random sweaty girl.
Random sweaty girl. Say that again, Jeremy.
She was very sweaty.
She was. I don't know why she was so sweaty.
She was, and the guy, the announcer, was like definitely manhandling that girl in the movie. Like, I forgot how like kind of creepy he is with her when he like grabs her pigtails and like flops them.
It's almost like she was glistening.
Yeah, she was shiny. So I have to say, this is a decent movie if you like, hour and a half long commercials for Nintendo and Universal Studios. So
it's true.
Like, that's the best thing. Every time they talked about stuff, they're like, Nintendo games. Let's show the Nintendo Power, helpline office, and like how great that thing is. Like, it went through everything from the late 80s that like you're like, do you know that you could call Nintendo and get tips?
It was an hour and a half commercial for the Power Glove.
But okay, the saddest thing, the thing that pisses me off about it is A, Fred Savage has the Power Glove on the literal picture for the poster or whatever. He never uses the Power Glove. He's not even the wizard. And second of all, the Power Glove is in this movie for what, all of 2 minutes. So
it's a very quick scene. Yeah.
I
thought it was going to come back up again, like in the finals for the video game competition, but no.
Nope, Power Glove not there. So they showed off the Nintendo Power Glove, the Nintendo Helpline, Nintendo Power Magazine, and then they're like, and just to throw it off on you, Mario Brothers 3 is coming out in the US in 1989 as well. Let's go ahead and show everybody in the US there's a Mario Brothers 3 on screen for the first time. Perfect commercial for Mario Brothers 3. It was literally an hour and a half long Nintendo commercial where they showcased all their products.
And the funny thing is, this, like I said, I'm just looking at the actual like box office like cost versus budget. So it looks like this movie cost $6 million to make and only made $14 million. However, I'm wondering if $3 million of that was licensing fees to Nintendo.
Oh, probably. It had to be. Like, I cannot imagine to get like all the different games. I think at the time, only Mario, all the games were, I think, owned by Nintendo that they showed, except for the Ninja Turtles game, would be the only non-Nintendo owned game.
There's Mega Man too. They should Mega Man for a minute.
Is it
Capcom,
that
right?
That's Capcom. Yeah. So so there's two. Mega Man and Ninja Turtles that they have that are not Nintendo owned properties.
Was Ninja Gaiden? I think Ninja Gaiden was Tecmo, right?
Tecmo, but I think that they have that. That's a licensing deal with Nintendo, man, because they also have the Tecmo Bowl. So, yeah, like in any case, most of the games were just full on like Nintendo's greatest. This game literally lists off Nintendo's greatest hits. Let's just put it that way. Like you have Christian Slater playing Mario Brothers 2.
In the hotel room with the dad.
Hotel room, the dad gets hooked on the Ninja Turtles. It shows that like older kids and adults like Nintendo too. Yeah, like this.
Hey, let's not forget the awesome cameo in this movie.
You're talking about Tobey Maguire?
Well, I'm not talking about. Well, I'm not even talking about like human person. I'm talking about Cabazon, California, with the Cabazon.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it ends up the dinosaurs. But yeah, random cameo. Did anybody catch Tobey Maguire as a child?
I did at the end. He's one of Lucas's friends.
Lucas's friends with the most epic of mullets. Like I have to say, this his mullet was phenomenal. But yeah, so if you catch the Tobey Maguire with zero speaking lines, Lucas's friend at the end, it's quite comical.
It's pretty cool.
So let's go into a couple of like different things, like highlights of the movie. Like, what are some of the things that just like hit you with this? Because there's a couple points where I was just like, "What?" Did anybody notice whenever they were playing the Mario 3, it was the same scenes over and over again, no matter who was playing?
Yeah,
they kept it was
So like when they showed the 3 screens, the 2 on the left were just off by like a couple seconds.
Yeah,
this is weird, but
right.
I get it.
Yeah, so they only did a couple. They're like, oh, we can only show, and they said the world wrong. Like I know that was like that was World 1-3, and they kept saying it was 1-2, and I was like,
oh.
And what was their scoring? Okay, the thing I think I had the biggest problem with is the video game competition. Like, how are they being scored? Like, was it like?
I mean, there's a score in Mario, but I don't think that was the score, because like didn't Jimmy lose a bunch of points like when he died?
Yeah, so you lose points when you die, which doesn't happen. No. They gave him points for matching in the little the roulette game thing, and they're like two up, they get points. I'm like, you don't get points for that. Like, where are they assigning these points to?
I mean, that was cool. It did show a few of the main new things in Super Mario 3. Like that, like the little transition game. It showed the
warp whistle.
The warp whistle. The Tanuki, like Jimmy figured that out pretty quick too, how to like fly with the. It was It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's that was a couple of the things that made me laugh. I was like, this game doesn't make sense, and like the preliminaries are just catch the 3 top scores of who can play Ninja Gaiden the longest.
Yeah,
and the people. It showed the last 3 of them. It was the same Ninja Gaiden screen on each one. They were at the exact same spot. So I'm like, how did they score? Like, how did you score that? They're all the same. So yeah, it's that was the one thing. The whole time I was watching it, being like, what the hell is going on here?
I mean, I think that's one of those things, right? Like, any type of video game movie like that, like, people who actually played the video games are going to pick it apart and notice the dumb little things because, like, the director and guy who's editing it doesn't care. But I will say, since we're talking about like the end, right? The video game tournament, it was pretty cool to see a video game tournament in 1989. Right? It just like it was way before like esports and any type of competitive gaming. Was this before or after like the Nintendo World Championship Classics thing? Do you guys know? Or is it around the same time, maybe?
I think this is around the same time.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe they had that, but it's still pretty cool that, like, given where we are now with video games, that they had the idea of, hey, we're going to have this movie and they're going to go to Universal Studios, of all places, and have a video game tournament.
It was Nintendo World Championship was exactly 1 year later.
Later? Oh, okay.
So it's 19. So this started it. The other question I have is, where were they holding this in which they had that easy of access to Universal Studios to get on the King Kong ride?
It was it was clearly the back lot.
Right, but it still got on the like.
I know. It was the back lot. And they got to the King Kong ride because the studio tour was going by. And Fred Savage lifted up the barricades and they snuck on.
Yeah, but still, that means they had to be somewhere inside Universal Studios.
Yeah.
To get on said studio tour.
Which is really cool. It was one of my favorite parts because I've been on that studio tour. Probably not in the late 80s, but like more recently. And one of the wonderful things about theme parks like Universal Studios or Disneyland, they don't change a lot over like 30 years.
You know what? I said I was there in 1989.
What? No way.
Like I said, I'll have to try to dig it out. I actually have a picture of me in front of the DeLorean because they had the DeLorean parked at
oh yeah. Cool, yeah, because they filmed part of that there, right? They used to have the clock tower or whatever it is, yeah.
That whole that square, whatever they call it, that's right. Out there,
from Back to the Future 2, but then they tore it up, unfortunately.
Yeah,
right. They remodeled it for something else.
I took that tour in 1992.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's basically what you saw.
94, maybe. I was probably there in like 94.
Does anybody actually want to see the movie starring Pee Wee Herman and Zsa Zsa Gabor that the guy was talking about on that tour?
I
heard that. Bad. When he said that, I was like, "Wait, does that movie actually exist?"
No, and it's Pee Wee Herman. It would be Paul Rubens. It wouldn't be Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, but I think back then they would have just called him Pee Wee Herman because people didn't know Paul Rubens was.
So?
Yeah, like.
Was that the Pee Wee's Playhouse was probably still on TV?
Yeah, but I don't think they ever really said like starring Paul Rubens. I think they were just like it's Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, Pee Wee. True.
It's his character.
As a kid, I didn't know he had a different name.
I'm pretty sure
he got busted in that movie theater.
I was like, his name isn't Pee Wee. Like,
shocked.
Well, like, who's Paul Rubin?
Yeah. Sure.
Oh.
It's kind of an adult joke stuck inside a kids movie. Yeah, I really like the Universal Studios scenes. It was fun.
So this is like the weirdest road trip movie because it reminds me so much of the 80s though. Like they're trying to cross like states and they have like $40 and you're like, that's not enough. And the guy's like, I'll need like $46. And you're like, oh, okay. They're only a couple dollars short.
Yeah.
And arcade hustling was was a thing back then.
Hey,
apparently.
I said you know how you make money if you don't have money? You befriend a truck driver and then you basically teach him how to play craps inside a casino.
Oh yeah.
Right. You tell them what to do.
Because the 13-year-old girl,
because
her mom was like a gambling addict or something, and
it
was weird.
So they kick those kids out way too late than they would have in real life. Like they're yelling across the casino, and that dude kept winning. Like at some point, wouldn't somebody else be like, "I'm gonna fucking keep it here. Like I want to keep like." Or follow what that kid says too.
It's Reno. And why were those kids even allowed on the casino floor? They
Reno,
were allowed at
dude,
the other
Reno.
Right. He was at the other craps. They were at the other craps table, like 6 feet away. They were social distancing.
Social distancing. But yeah, they were the casino scene was quite strange. The girl was
He touched my breast.
He touched my breast.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it's what did you guys think? Because Fred Savage is just Fred Savage, right? He played his Wonder Years character
pretty much,
basically for this one, and obviously, Jimmy just had, like I said, maybe 12, 14 lines total. Did anybody else just like get annoyed by the girl and all the other kid actors? Like they were real bad actors.
Wasn't the girl in something else too?
I think so.
I don't remember what it was right now, but she was in another movie around that time.
For the whole time, she's like, they said my mom has good legs. Do I have good legs? I'm like, dude, learn to deliver a line.
She even like mispronounced ninja. I don't know how to pronounce it either, but Ninja Gaiden. She pronounced it differently than like the guy at the check-in for the gaming tournament. I'm like, that's sloppy.
Yeah, the guy just said it right.
Yeah,
and you turn around and said it wrong.
Yeah, but you can tell she even like stumbled over it too, like she hesitated.
Yeah,
like, nope, that's a good cut. Go.
Yeah, we spent too long with you kids. The kids that really got me were the bullies, man. Like, not because they were bullies, just because like the diner scene with the interrogation.
Those bullies, yeah.
Those bullies. The older kids. Yeah, those kids drove like I was like the worst acting is that kid sitting there with the lawn. He's like, nice hat, or like whatever. I'm like, oh.
Because he had the landscaping hat from, I guess, the landscaping company, because he stole it from Jimmy.
Yep. Yeah. So that whole scene drove me absolutely up the wall.
Yeah. And then that too, like talking about like money and different times, they chased down those 3 kids to get their $20 back.
Yeah. They got grifted.
Yeah.
This did show like these kids do now know, like, if you're going to go to like pool halls and be a pool shark, what will happen to you eventually? Every grifter gets his comeuppance at some point.
That's true. I mean, okay, so I know the girl's mom is out of the picture and she lives with her dad, and her dad's a trucker. But like, how did these 3 kids go for 9 days on this little adventure by themselves? That would never happen nowadays, too.
Well, I mean, because they got
days.
Yeah, there would be at the time this didn't exist, but there would be like Amber Alerts and shit.
Yes.
Like,
right. And that's literally why Amber Alerts exist, because kids were missing.
Right. 9 days. I just wondered like what route, because they like went like this weird route. They got like random hitchhiking and truckers and bikers to take them places. Somehow took 9 days to get from somewhere in Utah to LA.
Yeah. Through Reno,
I
guess, man.
Like north, crazy north. And then
yeah. Reno's up by Sacramento. Like, you got to go all that way up and then back down.
Yeah. That's a far drive to make. Was it Sparky or Spanky or whatever his name was?
Spanky. Spanky, yeah.
Yeah, Spanky. Yeah, the truck driver. From Reno to LA.
Wouldn't it?
In the truck from over the top, by the way.
Seriously?
Yeah, at one scene, they're in the truck. Yeah. He opens the door up, and it has still has Sylvester Stallone's name on the door. It's not the truck that he drove them to LA in, but when he stops them on the overpass, he's in the Sylvester Stallone's truck from over the top.
Okay, cool. I didn't catch that, but I didn't even know to look.
Where, you guys are, which might have to be another one that we watch on this.
I might have seen Over the Top. Is that the arm wrestling one?
It is the arm wrestling one, but we got to talk about a movie about arm wrestling at some point.
There's one thing I love. It's arm wrestling.
So interesting. So let's get into kind of the nitty and gritty of this. So when we're talking movies, there's always a point of the movie that we absolutely love, and the point of the movie that we just despise with all of our passion and being. We call these the totally rad and totally bogus moment. So I have a surprise for Jeremy. I think he's going to very much enjoy this. I want to do the totally rad first.
Like totally rad.
So I'm sorry to anybody who's doesn't get to see the video that goes along with this audio, but Jeremy, my totally rad moment, this goes out to you, buddy, because you've said this to me before. So this is my totally rad moment from the movie.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Yeah, well, just keep your Power Gloves off her, pal, huh?
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Like he means good, right?
Yeah, like just that scene. That was
bad.
The scene, the right before as he turns around with the glove inside of the camera. It's the thing that proves that this is just a commercial, right? Is that exact scene right there.
Yep.
So that to me was a totally rad moment. He said it, and I was just like, ha ha ha, at the house. And Larry got the video clip for me.
Yes. Look at that production value on the Totally Rad Movie Podcast.
Yeah, it's
now
true.
With movie clips.
Now with clips of movies. We've upped this one up just a little bit.
Setting the bar high.
Setting the bar high. So Jeremy, what is your totally rad moment of this movie?
Honestly, I love the announcer, like head guy at the video game competition. Because he's so like over the top and like sweaty.
Yeah,
the sweaty one.
Number one.
My favorite moment, like I said, it's what makes this movie iconic. Now introducing Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man.
That guy's face was just so insane. He was like this, like the oldest person in the entire room full of kids.
Yeah, it's a man yelling at children about Mario Brothers 3.
So here's the interesting thing too, and I think this is just kind of goes to like how things have progressed over time. So video game, that was basically the concept of a video game competition, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that entire thing, the entire audience, everything, but everyone was kids. Everyone was kids. Like, so I said everyone was like under the age of like 16. Like they were all kids. And so like if you fast forward to like reality and what real life is now, like you have like 10-year-olds mixed with like 40 girls like playing, like I said, like hardcore playing these games.
Yeah, it's true.
It kind of goes to show basically like how video game culture has like changed to like kind of be inclusive of everybody.
Well, it's because those kids in the audience are now in their 30s and 40s, and
those kids are all our age.
Yeah,
like, that was the
right.
thing.
We're all still playing video games.
Yeah. So,
hello, Animal Crossing.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Jeremy, that's a good one. I do love the announcer. Larry, on you. What is your totally rad moment?
So my totally rad moment, I'm sharing, go quick, is the very end when Jimmy wants to stop the car because he wants to see California, but the part of California he wants to see is Cabazon, California, with those giant dinosaurs, which we have been to.
Right.
Shout out to those dinosaurs.
So I was showing my daughter. She was like in the room when I was watching the movie, and I was like, "Hey, do you remember those dinosaurs? We've been there." And she goes, "That doesn't look like that." And I realized
it is way different now. Yeah,
it was just they were just these dinosaurs next to like a gas station out in the desert. Now it's like surrounded by buildings and there's like tons of stuff up in there. Like I didn't even really recognize it. That I was like, did those things get moved?
Yeah,
Like,
no, it just got built up. It's
Yeah,
right.
huge outlet mall that's like that's like right next to it, like that.
Yeah.
Giant outlet.
Close, but like they expanded just from the 2 dinosaurs to like there's a whole little, I don't know, it's like a more roadside attraction, right? But you have to pay admission to go in and see like a couple more big fake dinosaurs, and that's where the gift shop is now. Like in the whole plot of this movie is like Jimmy goes into the Brontosaurus or whatever and goes up past the gift shop and stuff. I don't think you can go inside the dinosaurs anymore. I mean, that picture was what, like 2 years ago after we went to Designer Con?
Yeah.
I didn't see anywhere you could go inside the dinosaurs.
I don't think they let you go in anymore.
No.
So
Granted, it's been like 20 years. So no,
yeah,
30 years. It's been like 30 years.
So it's changed quite a bit in that time. But yeah, she knew the dinosaurs, but she didn't recognize the area. She's like, that's not where we went though. Because like, you know, to her, yeah.
Yeah, it does. It looked different to me, and I'm not 5.
Yeah. So that's a good one. The dinosaurs at the end. Everyone's favorite dinosaurs. Been shown in tons of movies.
Yeah, it was in the Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which was like around the same time too. So Cabazon was rocking in the late 80s, man.
Well, I mean, it was this roadside attraction with dinosaurs on the side. What's the other town in like Nevada that has the hotel with the big dinosaur out front? Because there was like 2 competing dinosaur places.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember the Nevada one. Okay. With every movie, like you said, we talk about the stuff that we love, but there's also things that we don't like. We call this the totally bogus moment.
Ugh, totally bogus.
So let's go through here. I'm gonna let's pick Larry, since you went last. Let's make you go. What was your totally bogus moment of the movie?
So my totally bogus moment from The Wizard was the creepy old dude who Jimmy's stepdad hired to go find him. And he was kind of abusive and kind of a jerk and really only cared about the money and didn't care at all about the kids.
So like, at what point did he think it was a good idea just to run up to a child with like mental problems and just grab him and drag him out of a building?
In the casino?
Yeah, like when he's in the casino, just picks the kid up, starts walking. Like, you knew security was going to stop that guy. That kid is not clearly doesn't want to go with the dude.
I don't know, man. Like, it was the 80s. Like, all he had to do is say like,
"It's my kid."
Yeah, like it's like, all right, go beat him. Who cares, right? I think it wouldn't fly today, but I feel like maybe they're a little more lax. But it's the touching of the boobs where security drew the line. So
yeah, like, oh, touched a kid's breast. Again, how'd they get back into the casino floor? But yeah, the creepy dude was definitely and after the dad smashes the shit out of his car, wouldn't you just give up? Like, at a certain point, like, you've lost your money, right? To repair, you have to buy a new car now.
Oh, yeah, but he keeps going, man. Like, because he's that determined. Because he needs the buck for turning in this kid. But yeah, I love the scene where Beau Bridges, the dad, just takes his truck and slams into this guy's like LeBaron or whatever it was repeatedly. It was awesome.
Yeah,
that whole
beating it up with after smashing it with a shovel.
yeah, smashed with the shovel, and then the bounty hunter guy like gets the dad's truck towed away,
and they immediately. So again, the 80s. So he basically sells their car to a scrapper, and by the time Christian Slater and Beau Bridges can get to the car, they've already stripped it completely for parts.
Yep.
Like in the span of an hour. Yeah, I'd be like, and you're buying me a new car. Congratulations.
Yep.
Yeah, so that is a good one.
I also loved at the end when Jimmy's winning the tournament and that guy is over there on the side cheering for him. He's like, yeah, I know that kid. I'm like,
yeah.
Really? It was a good bad character.
Yeah. So, all right, Jeremy, what about you? What was your bogus moment?
Honestly, it's throughout the entire movie, and we touched on this earlier. Is the incessant use of the word California? Like, I wish I could turn it into a drinking game of basically every time he says California, I said you just like take a shot just
You'd
because.
be dead.
Yeah, I think he'd be dead just because they say the word California so many goddamn times.
It's true.
Throughout the entire movie. On a complete side note, though, like I said, in Arizona, it's closed down, but it's still there. It's just abandoned. I said, you guys have to go to Williams, Arizona. Let me share my screen real quick.
Yeah, I don't know what or where that is.
Williams, Arizona is north, so it's right before you get to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Flintstones.
Yeah, the Bedrock City is in.
Yeah.
So it's all shut down. So, but it's like
Yeah.
abandoned Bedrock City. So it's.
Oh, that's even more cool.
Yeah, so it's like all overgrown.
Well, and you probably had to pay like $5 to go check it out before. Now you can just go trespass and check it out for free.
Yeah, so now it's all like derelict.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just getting to go up there. Yeah. So let's go through here. My totally bogus moment is the moment they discover they could grift people with the arcade machine is two drunk businessmen in a diner's, like using the diner's arcade, and they're like, "Oh, my brother's better than you," or whatever. And the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I'll take that challenge." Like, what adult has a kid say that? And he's like, "I'm gonna bet this kid money."
They were salesmen too, right? Fred Savage specifically said, "Oh, look at those guys over there. They're salesmen."
Yeah, they're salesmen.
Okay.
Yeah, and he somehow convinces them to play the kids for money.
Yeah, I guess that means they're up for a challenge.
Yeah, but it doesn't show how he does it. They just say like, my brother's better than you or whatever. And they're like, "Oh yeah," and then they walk out with money. So I'm like, what was the terms of this thing that they convinced the salesman to actually play them for cash? Like, it's weird to say. I could see if it was other kids, right? Other kids. 100%. Like, you could get a dumb kid that just got his allowance to drop $20. You know, like, I'll bet you 20 on my brother's better than you. That would happen. But it was these sweaty adult males. All the adults were sweaty in this movie.
It's a theme.
So that was it. The whole grifting original scene was just utterly ridiculous. I was like, yeah, that's the thing.
You know what other scene I liked? So it's a little more totally rad than totally bogus. When they hitchhike a ride in like the hostess truck, and then they come out with chocolate all over their faces.
Yeah, they've been eating them ho-hos.
What kid wouldn't want to ride in the back of a hostess truck?
As he says as they're walking around too, he's like, "We got enough Twinkies to last us forever." So those kids went 9 days basically eating Twinkies.
Yeah. That's life, man.
That's what gave them the energy. That's what gave them the energy and determination to get going. And they got so high on sugar, that's why they ended up in Reno instead of like going the faster route directly to California.
Yeah, right. They probably could have just went through Vegas.
Yeah,
it probably cost more to shoot in Vegas. Low budget.
Low budget. They're like, "Oh, we can't get any." Probably what it was is they couldn't get any casinos in Vegas to let them film inside.
Yeah, right.
And somebody in Reno was like, "All right, so cool."
And maybe somebody was just a big Glenn Campbell fan because there was that nice shot of the Glenn Campbell sign, like right in Reno. Maybe that was a bigger deal at the time than like, I don't know, Wayne Newton.
Yeah, probably.
Like, nah, we need a shot of the Glenn Campbell sign in my movie.
Right. So that's it. But yeah, I mean, overall, this movie was exactly what I remember from probably when I saw it back in like the late 90s. I think it was the last time I really watch this movie. So let's get into ratings, right? We've talked this movie to death, so let's go into kind of how we'd rate this movie. Again, we don't rate it based on standards of today's movies or, you know, how good these movies are. We're going to rate them based on the amount of that these things entertained us, right? So out of 5 in true fashion here, Jeremy, what do you rate The Wizard?
I rate it a 2.
A 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, like honestly, maybe it just doesn't hold up. A lot of it doesn't hold up, man.
Well, I mean, they're playing 8-bit video games, so yeah, I get it.
I have I like 8-bit video games. I still play 8-bit video games. It's just I don't know. Like I said, to me, I think I seem to remember, like I said, this movie better as a kid than I do as an adult. It just didn't bring me back like I felt it should. So that's why, you know what, it's a 2.
It's fair.
All right, Larry.
I really liked it. I'm gonna give it a 5 because I thought it was really good. I loved all the video games. Like Jeremy said, right? I still appreciate a good 8-bit cartridge. I love the video games. I love the Universal Studios. I love the dinosaurs. I love the California, right? Because I think like anybody who doesn't live in California just wants to go to California all the time. At least I do.
When you were a kid, you were like, California.
Yeah, right. Universal Studios, Disneyland, the beach. I mean, like when you don't live in California or near California, you want to go to California, right? It's totally romanticized Hollywood. Like you want to do all those things. So I love that aspect of it too. Like anytime like a road trip to California, like I'm down. So yeah, I just thought it was fun. I love Fred Savage. Fred Savage is awesome. The other kids, they were okay. And yeah, and even like a quick couple seconds of young Tobey Maguire, man. 5 stars for Tobey.
5 stars. So I'm going more in Jeremy's direction here. I'm giving it a 2.5. The video game aspect was cool. It was super nostalgic, but for me, it was the fact that this is just one big Nintendo commercial. Like I said, they cycled through every Nintendo product that was hot at the time just to make sure that you went out and got all those. They also threw in the Right Stuff by the New Kids on the Block, which was popular at the time.
I added that to the Totally Rad movie playlist on Spotify.
Right? Thank you. So for that, and just like I said, just kind of horrible acting, and this plot just doesn't make sense. It's a 2.5. It's a must watch, but it's not going to be a pleasant one. Like you're going to struggle through it a little bit.
Really? Like, honestly, I
struggled.
I had the easiest time getting through this one compared to a lot of the other movies we watched.
There are some of them that are a little rough.
Even like Top Gun, Outbreak, like this was way more enjoyable to me than those. Way more. Like I stopped once, like yesterday, and I picked it back up today. But yeah, like I really liked it.
So, was anything else that you guys want to say about the movie before we wrap up here?
You know what? Like I said, I would love to see a reimagining of this movie.
Yeah.
Where they actually, it's like
a modern wizard.
I would actually watch that. A kid getting good at like
Fortnite.
Overwatch or some shit. Yeah, like Fortnite, and like going to some tournament where he's he's the best.
Like the announcer guy, like Jeremy was talking about, is rather than some random old dude. It's like Ninja. Right? There's video game celebrities now. Like you could hype this thing up the same way they did with the Nintendo properties in the late 80s.
And they're headed like TwitchCon or something like that.
Yeah. You get your Monster Energy drinks. Like you could market the hell out of this.
Oh yeah, you could make another 1.5 hour long commercial.
Yeah,
it would be great.
It would be fun. Throw Fred Savage in there as a cameo somewhere.
He could be the announcer.
He'd be the dad.
Or it's the kid's dad.
Yeah,
like he's the dad, and his kid goes and does the same stupid thing.
Yeah, right. And he's tracking him on the GPS on his phone till he turns his phone off, and it would work.
That would work. Hollywood, we want credit if this makes it. Like,
I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, there's
and
no
this
way.
guy's gamer tag is like the WZARD or something, right? Wizard, but not really spelled out.
I was like the wizard, don't take a whiz, whatever joke. And
that was good. I love a good whiz joke, though.
A whiz joke, because they use the word whiz.
Yeah, does it? That was Lucas, right? I think the bad kid.
Yeah, the bad kid. You think he's okay, but he's really a bad guy.
Bad guy.
Yeah, he was always a dick. All right. Well, with that, Larry, do your thing.
Oh yeah! If you want to find out what we're going to watch next time in the Totally Rad Movie Podcast, you should follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Totally Rad Pod, and you should check out the STS Guys, where me, Jeremy, Scott, and Nate have a weekly pop culture podcast we record live on YouTube every Saturday night. You can find us on Instagram at STS Guys. We're on Twitter at STS Guys, and we're on Facebook at the STS Guys, and I'm Larry from the STS Guys.
If you catch this on the day it airs or right after, by the way, do check out Saturday's episode of the STS Guys. We have a very special treat. I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but just know it's going to be a fun one again. So,
can I suggest a movie for next time?
Yes, because we don't have anything. I was going to ask Scott, but yeah, Jeremy, if you've got something, dude, what do you think we should watch for? What is that going to be? Episode 16?
Yeah. How about 80s classic, The Garbage Pail Kids?
Ooh, yeah. If we can find it, we'll watch it.
It's out there. Remember, I told you, I texted you like a couple weeks ago.
Okay, then yes, it's there. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so, I was looking. This one came about because I was looking for something to watch last night, and this was newly added to our movie service. And awesome. I texted Scott, and I'm like, "What do you think about The Wizard?"
So that one is good. Also, we might have to take a peek because I just saw Tremors came to Netflix, so we might have to.
That too. Tremors is
good. Yeah. So she had sent that to me and showed me, and I was like, "Oh, we got to get a good old we haven't done a good Kevin Bacon movie for a little bit." So
Manny's in the chat pushing pretty hard for The Jerk.
Oh, The Jerk would be a good one too. Steve Martin, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're going to. We got a couple here. We'll take the suggestions and we'll move on. So, upcoming ones, we got Tremors, The Jerk, and Garbage Pail Kids on the list of the next few.
I'm looking forward to seeing the mess that is Garbage Pail Kids. I know I've seen it before because I had it on VHS. Like my dad must have recorded off TV. It was on one tape, right? Remember when you used to write the stuff on it so you knew it was on it? The tape had Follow That Bird, Empire Strikes Back, and Garbage Pail Kids. So I know I've seen it before. That's an amazing trio of movies too, by the way.
So with that, like I said, I only remember I remember seeing it too. The only one I remember though is like one like Garbage Pail Kid that looked like Carlos Mencia.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay. I just remember they're like really weird puppets, right? Well,
they're midgets in puppet suits. Yeah.
This is going to be you're not going to want to miss us talking about.
We'll try to do that one next. We'll try to do that one next for sure. So cool. Well, with that then, thank you guys for joining in and talking movies with us. Until next time for the Totally Rad Movie Podcast, I am Scott.
Hey, it's Larry.
I've been Jeremy.
And everybody have a good night. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Rad.